In the UFC main event, middleweight showdown between Brendan Allen and Reinier in Vancouver, it's Brendan Allen winning via TKO, taking down DeRitter. Allen oozing with confidence in Vancouver. And with that, we welcome in CBS Sports combat writer Shakiel Mahjouri from Vancouver. You watched it all, Shaq. We're recapping this middleweight fight. And listen, Brendan Allen wasn't even supposed to be in this position, okay? So what do you make of him winning, and not just winning, but in the fashion that he did against RDR?
This was so important for Brendan Allen, and in a lot of ways, it's not only validating, but it's redemption for him. For a long time, he has been sort of clamoring for a fight against these guys at the top of the division. He got his chance against Nassourdine Imavov and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, two other guys working their way up the ranks, and he lost those fights. But now he comes in here on short notice. He gets Reinier to throw in the towel. And the rankings panel is very subjective in how they sort of assign rankings. But there's a world in which we wake up on Monday and Brendan Allen, number 9, has taken Reinier number 4 spot. That puts him ahead of Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That puts him in the top 5. And suddenly, he's as close to a title shot as he has ever been. He still has work to do, don't get me wrong, but this was a best-case scenario, in a lot of ways, an unexpected blessing for Brendan Allen.
Absolutely. Now, for DeRitter, right, what is next for him? Because going into this fight, you're expecting he's going to get the win, and then he's going to face, perhaps, Chimaev. That doesn't happen. So what is next for Mr. RDR?
This is a bad look, guys, to be quite frank with you, Chris. It's one thing if he goes in there and loses a fight. You can bounce back from that pretty quickly. But the fact that he threw in the towel, he did not answer the call for round 5, it's a bad look. That's not the sort of energy that's going to endear you to the audience or to UFC matchmakers. He was very much in the race for a title shot. Should he have beaten Brendan Allen, it would have been either him or Nassourdine Imavov. And Allen told us pre-fight that, DeRitter told us pre-fight that he really wanted to get in there and finish Brendan Allen. That would be a statement piece for him because Imavov couldn't finish Allen and neither could Fluffy Hernandez. But now we go from DeRitter talking about a possible title shot against Khamzat Chimaev. One I think the matchmakers would have been very eager to give him considering his activity and his ability, unlike Nassourdine Imavov, to speak and market himself to an English-speaking audience. Now he's got to look back. Off the top of my head, I think Caio Borralho is a good matchup. They are now sort of the 2 losers in the 4-man sweepstakes to fight Khamzat. Pair them up and give one of them a chance to start turning the corner up.
All right, so for Brendan Allen, right, again, unexpected win against RDR. What's next for him? We saw him calling out just about everybody, like he wants to smoke. What do you think is the most realistic thing that we're going to see when he fights in the ring again?
I think Brendan Allen is in an interesting place that might really benefit him because with Reinier out of the way, Nassourdine Imavov, 5-fight winning streak, number 2 ranked in the middleweight division, recently knocked out the former champ Israel Adesanya. He is your clear-cut number 1 contender. You have Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who just beat Brendan Allen, and he's probably like the second closest to a title shot right now. But with Khamzat as champion, it opens a lot of doors. Brendan Allen could fight any one of the former champions next. Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. DDP and Izzy would be fresh matchups for Allen. Strickland would be a rematch from 5 years ago that Sean Strickland won. And any one of these gives Allen an opportunity to build a real case for a title shot. It keeps the road clear for Imavov and Hernandez, and it gives the guys like Izzy and DDP and Strickland a chance to work their way back, because now that Khamzat is when DDP was champion, right, you're not going to see a third Sean Strickland fight. You're not going to see a second Izzy fight anytime soon. But Khamzat hasn't fought most of the guys ranked. He hasn't fought actually any of the guys ranked number 2 to 7. So Allen put him up against one of these former champions, and suddenly you have numerous contenders who could line up and challenge Khamzat Chimaev by the end of 2026.
Cannot wait to see how it all plays out. So much chaos in UFC. Now, in the welterweight co-main event, we had Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. Holland came in at 28-14. Malott sporting a 12-2-1 record. And it's Malott winning by unanimous decision. I mean, they had an injury timeout for about 4 minutes, I believe. How did you wrap your head around what you saw in that fight where it felt like it was just inevitable for Malott to take down Holland?
Speaking of chaos, I mean, the biggest takeaway I had is this Vancouver audience doesn't care who gets kicked in the nuts. As long as you're not a Canadian fighter, you are getting showered in boos and F-bombs, because Drew Dober landed 2 groin strikes on the Canadian Kyle Nelson, and they were cussing him out of the building. Fast forward to the co-main, and Mike Malott, the Canadian, is the one dishing out the illegal strikes, and the crowd is booing Holland for not recovering fast enough. I actually give Holland a ton of credit. He took the full 5-minute break that's allotted to a fighter who gets hit with an illegal strike in round 1. He could have, it was the second groin strike he took. Had Kevin Holland refused to continue, which is very much in his right, we would have been looking at a no contest. But Kevin Holland answered the call. He was still compromised. He was still uncomfortable after the first round ended, before the second round started. And I thought for a moment the referee was going to wave it off. But Holland endured. I think he deserves tremendous credit for that, because he was obviously super uncomfortable and he chose not to take the easy way out. But Mike Malott, strong second round, strong third round. He hit Holland with a huge knee. He got the better of the grappling exchanges. And come Monday, he'll probably be your number 15 ranked contender. It was the right decision in terms of who won each round. But I do think a lot of people will be upset that Mike Malott wasn't deducted a point in round 1. I know referees can be sort of hesitant to hand out those penalties, but when Kevin Holland needs the entire 5 minutes and he's still not recovered, that is an illegal strike that fundamentally changed the momentum and the dynamic of the next 10 minutes. I firmly believe Mike should have been deducted a point. It was a rough night for referee Dan Mergliotta. He's also the one who stepped in and stopped the fight between Kyle Nelson and Matt Frivola with 3 seconds left in the first round, and yet it somehow went to the second. But Mike Malott did his job. He won this rounds 2 and 3, and now he can look up realistically to anyone between 10 and 14. Those guys are all ripe for the picking. Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, Daniel Rodriguez, Gabriel Bonfim. Each of those fights makes sense for Mike Malott, who will probably be a ranked fighter come Monday.
Out of all those names that you mentioned, right, who do you think is most likely to face Mr. Malott?
So Bonfim will be headlining UFC Fight Night in the UFC Apex 2 weeks from now against Randy Brown. So very likely that person, whoever wins, will hold the number 14 spot. I think scheduling-wise, it'll make a lot of sense, because you have Mike and the winner of that fight having competed 2 weeks apart, short of a catastrophe, a serious injury, a really hard fight. They'll both probably be ready for another one soon, but I do think there's sort of a sneaky, fun opportunity for Mike Malott to fight number 10 ranked Colby Covington, especially if you hold that fight in Canada. It's this weird matchup between one guy on his way out, one guy on his way up. I don't think Mike, in beating Kevin Holland, proved himself to be a destroyer, a world beater. I think it's a fight either man could win. And you know Colby Covington, he loves nothing more than to bleed red, white, and blue and talk smack about his opponents. So I think you have the chance for like a really fun Canada versus USA build-up to that fight, wherever it should take place.
Shakiel Mahjouri breaking it down like a boss as always. We appreciate the time, man.
Thank you.